I'm going to be reacting to two videos in this video because two separate games that are completely woke have failed and nobody knew or cared. And I love to see it. I love to make fun of these freaks who just own themselves at every fucking turn. Never heard of this game. Is it called Bloomin' Rage? I don't know anything about it.
I have played a lot of truly horrendous experiences on this channel. Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, Dragon Age the Veilguard, Unknown Nine Awakening, but one of the worst was Lost Records Bloomin' Rage.
Did you play Dustborn?
I did not like this experience at all whatsoever, and I've never heard anybody talking
So it's called Lost Records Bloomin' Rage.
positively about it, but just a couple of weeks ago we heard that it met sales expectations and it was doing decently, but I guess when you expect zero is going to look pretty good on paper, and now we're finding out that Lost Records developer Don't Nod is laying off staff.
Oh, would you look at that? No, actually, our game is doing amazing. I keep hearing that from all these companies, man. Actually, our game is breaking records. It's actually selling quite well. 4 million players.
I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, I don't like to revel in the fact that people are losing their jobs, but
I do. I 100% do. Like, if it's easy to see what you should and shouldn't do, and then you do the thing that you shouldn't do, and then you lose your job for it, you know, you fucking played yourself.
when you suck at your job and you are creating slop that nobody wants to experience, yeah, you probably didn't deserve to have that job in the first place. And this is what happens when you hire a slew of activists to make a game for activists.
Yeah, because they're not making a game to make a game. They're making a game second, pushing agenda first.
When really, this isn't the type of content that gamers want to consume.
True. Who wants to play this garbage slop? Somebody who's virtue signaling and pretending that it's good.
I know that there is a small, I guess, audience out there who probably is okay with this content, the people who still read The Gamer and Kotaku and Polygon on the daily.
Yeah, but they probably will play it once, never play it again, completely forget that it even exists 10 years in the future, and nobody's even going to know that this game existed.
Even though those outlets are also dying, but it doesn't seem that they ever really show up to monetarily support content. Now,
didn't Polygon completely fall apart, though?
when I played this, I played it through PlayStation Plus, so I did not support these developers monetarily. And I'm sure that a lot of the people who ended up trying out this experience played it the same way.
I wouldn't pay money for this. The hell? Somebody actually bought this and paid for it?
Because we know that the sales numbers were not looking good, at least on Steam, and now we—
Yeah, everybody's like, well, the Steam numbers, it's not just on Steam. Just because nobody played it on Steam doesn't mean they didn't play it everywhere else. No, but it's a pretty good fucking indicator.
We also have the fact that they are going through layoffs. But really quickly, I did want to let you guys know that when I streamed it, I of course gave my review, and I do now have a second channel called Vara Dark Reviews, where I clip out my live streamed reviews so that you guys can just watch the—
well, that's another channel that I'm gonna have to subscribe to and watch.
15 or 20 minute clips. This one was only 10 minutes long because I had nothing good to say about it, but that channel will be linked down below. I'd appreciate it if you could go over and subscribe to it.
Yep, I'm doing that right now on my phone.
So it says, Don't Nod, the developer behind Lost Records, Bloomin' Rage, Jusant, and the recently announced Aphelion, is laying off staff from its Montreal office. Man, I can't believe that more Canadian game developers are getting laid off. This is just—
wouldn't you know it? It's Canada every time.
so sad, guys. I mean, those Canadians, they're making so much good content. Look at how they've helped with games like Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, and the—
yeah, they killed Suicide Squad, killed the Justice League. It was more like Justice League killed the Suicide Squad, am I right? And we are the Justice League. And we killed it by not playing it.
South of Midnight and Unknown Nine Awakenings.
I actually kind of like South of Midnight. But it was a 7 out of 10 game. It was like a PS2 era game with prettier graphics and some updated mechanics. Straight up 7 out of 10 game. Is aight.
Sweet Baby's doing a lot up there. I'm sorry, my My sarcasm was off the charts with this one. The wave of layoffs comes from select developers who've been struck by the cuts who posted about them publicly on LinkedIn. Eurogamer has contacted Don't Nod for comment as to how many staff have been affected, as well as the reasoning for the layoffs. Now, I can't imagine that they had hundreds to thousands of developers, but the fact that one of their upcoming games, Aphelion, was just shown at the Xbox Game Showcase a few weeks back, and it was already getting wrecked by gamers for looking like more generic space slop, that does not bode in their favor.
Yeah, they keep making these generic space slop video games, probably because, they all remind me of like Death Stranding mixed with Starfield, mixed with No Man's Sky, and they all look like intergalactic, and it's all the same kind of virtue signal woke slop, and it's boring. It's so boring. Intergalactic might be the most interesting looking one, probably the most successful one, but like, that ain't it, bruh. We're gonna have to see how that gameplay and story is, but I don't think it's gonna be good.
They said, though, I am saddened to say I was part of yet another wave of layoffs affecting the video game industry. Companies overhired, and while we see them still releasing content,
They overhired and spent too much money. Their budgets are insane. And I mean, just look at the actual AAA budgets. What do you think they're doing for these AA budgets? These woke slop companies. They're probably doing like 1/4, maybe even up to half. Because a AA studio, that's like not much smaller than a AAA studio. Their budgets aren't that much smaller when it comes to these giant corporations running these studios.
also canceling a lot of projects.
True.
They're realizing that they bloated their numbers too much, and
True.
that's just going to lead to inevitable layoffs.
Spending $30,000 on parties and shit for journalists. For journalists that nobody likes. Just look at Ubisoft. They literally did that with that Alyssa Mercante chick. Spent $30,000 for a party where she could go try out that new boat game. I forgot what it's called. Looked like trash.
Sure, there are some decent people in these ranks that got laid off. I'm certain of it, but I can't say that I feel all that bad for like 85% of them. I am incredibly proud of what the team at Don't Nod Montreal accomplished with Lost Records Bloom and Rage, and shipping the game with this level of quality was nothing short of a miracle in the circumstances. I get that there are visual novels out there that people love. I love a couple of visual novels myself. I'm not a complete hater. The problem is that this game was literally just walking and listening to the woes of these young women who have been wronged by the men in their lives and society.
Man, fuck. Like, they just can't help themselves. That's all that they've got on their mind is identity politics. They see a problem in everything. They're addicted to rage. They really are. That's all they can think about is how mad they are at the world, at everything, at everybody who's oppressing them. But really, at the end of the day, they're oppressing themselves. And it's always like this, bro. Whenever we get into peaceful times, we end up wanting the chaos. I don't want chaos. But these crazy people who are manipulative liars, virtue signaling, woke people, they want chaos, and they are willing to destroy everything for no reason. For seemingly no reason. Actually, I think there is a reason. I think they're fucking demons.
And how they only had each other. They were all lesbians. They all are wronged by the people around them.
Dude, they're always on the wrong side. They're always hating on somebody. On nobody, actually. On an entire group of people. They don't know any of them, but they'll hate on the entire group of people, probably because they interact with a lot of garbage people. Because if you're hanging out in a dumpster, all you're gonna see is garbage. Oh shit, that was a good one. That just like came off the top of the dome. I like that.
They're completely misunderstood. Really, the only reason why they become friends is because they're all so misunderstood. it's just not a good story. When you're creating something like a visual novel, the story has to be near perfection. And I don't really think it could be that hard to create a game where characters are just walking around and talking the entire time. He continued by saying, I am incredibly
But that's what happens in Death Stranding. People say Death Stranding's a good game, but I think it's problematic. So I'm gonna make my own Death Stranding game where women talk about their problems.
proud of what we've created. I wish for all others affected by this wave of layoffs to land on their feet quickly, as they are truly exceptional people. If they truly were exceptional at their job, they'd still probably have them. But while we had heard not even that long ago that apparently this met their sales expectations, the Steam player counts are painting a very different picture. So Don't Nod had revealed the first commercial results of its newer project, the narrative adventure Lost Records Bloom and Rage, from the creators of the cult classic Life is Strange. According to
Oh, wow. I didn't even know. It makes sense, though, because Life is Strange is also woke slop, and it failed. That last Life is Strange game had that kid as the main character. What the fuck was that? I've never even played Life is Strange, but I watched gameplay of it, and I just couldn't with any of them.
the quarterly financial report, the launch of pre-orders and sales for the game's 2 episodes, scheduled for early 2025, so they've already released, had been described as strong and fully confirmed the effectiveness of the chosen publishing strategy. And listen, if this is a game that you think looks cool and you played it and you enjoyed it, that's great. On one hand, right, I always say
It ain't enough. It ain't enough. You need more than just 80 people playing it.
that developers need to be making new and unique content. So I do want to give them a little bit of credit for creating something new instead of just taking an existing franchise.
No, they didn't even create anything new. They just created a new name. That's all they did. It's still the same woke slop as all the other games.
And dissecting it and infecting it. But when you're still creating something, whether it is new content or a rehash of content or you are reviving a certain franchise, you still need to be making good content. And
True.
Lost Records Bloom and Rage
They don't know how. They have no idea how to make good content because all they can think about is stuff that makes them mad.
was not good content in any way, shape, or form. So
True.
they had said, oh, the sales were strong, but I don't know. For me personally, when I see the all-time peak was 2,996, that doesn't scream wildly successful to me personally. And yes, it was also on like PlayStation, and I know
Bro, this game came out 2 months ago? I've never even heard of it.
that there's people who played it through PlayStation Plus, but PlayStation Plus does not equal sales. So when you're hearing
4 million players. Remember that? Remember that from Assassin's Creed? 4 million players. And then they had massive layoffs and basically had to sell their soul to China. We all saw it coming, and everybody was like, no, 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 no. Assassin's Creed Shadows, most successful Assassin's Creed game of all time on Steam. Best launch ever, even though it was the very first launch they've ever done on Steam. Fucking stupid, man. Fucking stupid. When I get bombarded with ads for one thing, they're trying really hard to get people to buy it. And that puts me off of it completely. Even if it's a game that I was thinking about playing, if I get bombarded with ads, and if I get bombarded with people on social media glazing it, when I know that it's not a 10 out of 10, I'm fucking out of there, man.
that sales are good, you would expect to see the sales on one of the major platforms it's launched on, in this case Steam, to be better than this. I mean, in-game right now 73. Granted, it's a short experience. Each tape was around 5 hours long, so it's only like 10 hours worth of content. And for an experience like this, you're going to play it, and once you're done, you're only going to come back if they release like new story content or DLC, which they're never going to release anything else for Bloom and Rage again, at
So this is a failure at every turn, is what you're saying.
least. I hope so. I don't have to play it since I live streamed it previously. But yeah, I mean, 3,000 for the developers behind something like Life is Strange is absolutely terrible. You would think that Don't Nod would be able to pull more than few thousand people on such a major platform. So it's not like it ever really did that good. And the owner estimations, I personally don't believe the owner estimations
0 viewers right now. You see that number? Nobody's watching anybody play it.
are 63,000 on the low end and 120,000 on the high end. But typically, when we see numbers like this, the all time peak player count is like 10,000 to 15,000. So these don't really match up, at least in my opinion. And also in the top sellers, it was number 1,312 and only ever had 26,000 followers. So yeah, this never really got off the ground.
How many of those followers are real, though, by the way? Because obviously, not all those followers bought this game. And I think there was probably a lot of people that bought this game because this game needed sales and then didn't play it. I think that's what happened a lot with Assassin's Creed Shadows and Avowed, too. I think the numbers were really, for the sales numbers, were really being propped up by people buying multiple copies out of principle because they wanted their woke game to be successful. I don't think that's really like what made it, in quotes, as successful as it was. But that was definitely one of the factors. I was seeing people saying that I'm going to buy 4 copies of this game just to own the chuds. I guarantee nobody did that. Maybe some people bought 2 copies. Nobody bought that many copies of it to own the chuds. Maybe like some streamers did. But I still don't even see that happening. Yeah, these games are out. Nobody cares. We're not playing them. They're garbage.
And I can't say I feel all that bad for these developers because they just created a really bad product.
And like, we've been telling them. But instead of taking the criticism, they mark it off as hate. We're just haters. We're hating on it. We're review bombing it. And then it fails. Every fucking time. These people are coping. They're stupid. They're sad. They live in a broken brain world. They live in clown world. And they are the leaders. They are the leaders of the clowns.
Overall, and I know
Kings of the clowns.
that they are getting kind of memed on social media. Not too many people are memeing them, but the few that like picked up on this post definitely are. Smash JT posted, "Oh no!" Anyway.
Oh no. No.
Go woke, go broke. Ha, ha, ha. So in other words, they're bending the knee. Shocking, not. So I'll definitely be keeping my eye on this to see if anybody that worked on this game comes out and makes any sort of statements. But as of right now, it's not looking good for Don't Not as they are going through.
They'll probably come out and make statements saying, haters killed this game. People hated us so much because they're racist, bigoted, sexist monsters. They're the reason this failed. They can never take the blame themselves. They can never admit that anything was their fault. Dude, I'm seeing it with literally fucking everybody on the left. It's so crazy.
Layoffs after their latest game, Lost Records The Bloomin' Rage, which was an extremely woke experience, failed.
Not even the wokest. Apparently there was an even worse game, which we're going to cover right after this.
But that's all that I had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.
So there's this other game, apparently it's the wokest game ever, called Creature Kind. And it is a world in the future. What if there was no white people? What would the world be like? From Dr. Disaster.
What's up, space pirates? This is your admiral, the endlessly edgy Dr. Disaster. And I know what you guys are doing today. You're counting down the minutes until tomorrow, when the most hotly anticipated game of the year comes out on Xbox and PlayStation. Creature Kind is ready to dominate.
Oh, God. Is this real? Is this actually what this looks like? This looks like everything that is weird, woke, all mixed together. It's like they ticked all of the boxes. Is this seriously what it looks like? There's no way. There's no fucking way.
What the hell are you talking about?
You guys remember?
Bro, that looked like a gay coloring book.
Last year, we talked an awful lot about the game Dustborn, because it was, at least in my opinion, the wokest video game of the year. There was some stiff competition. Dragon Age the Veilguard and Concord were pretty high on the list as examples, but Dustborn just went next level with it, being literally a story about activists who formed a band and toured a futuristic world that has been taken over by fascism as they try to fight back against it. This was the kind of ugly game that made people want to practically gouge their own eyes out when they saw it.
We're fighting against fascism! And I think they don't even realize that they're the ones who are fascist. Like, get fucking real, man.
What the hell am I looking at?
Well, it has been brought to my attention, and I'd like to give a shout out to Smash JT's.
Dude, it actually does fucking look like this. Holy shit. Wow. They don't get it? You don't get it? Bro, these people's brains are completely broken. They think this looks good.
Twitter account for pointing this game out, but it has been brought to my attention that we have a spiritual successor for this game, Dustborn, that has slipped under the radar. It's about a group of self-described activists fighting mythical creatures and using the power.
This looks like a ripoff of 5 different games, and then they put a gay filter on top of it.
Power of empathy and compassion to defeat them. The game is called Creature Kind, and that description is not an exaggeration.
Dude, I can't believe it. This is actually real. This gotta be a joke. Like, this has to be made as a joke. No shot these people are so disconnected from reality. But apparently fucking so.
That is the actual description. This is a shitlib super fantasy.
True.
It's a game so woke that the response to it from gamers is about as predictable as you can imagine.
Get away from me, you freak!
The game has already been released on Steam, and once again, we can see the...
Oh my god, dude! All-time peak 2 months ago. 5. God damn, dude! What is going on in this woke garbage echo chamber? The ceiling is collapsing. They're being crushed under their own fat, dramatic asses.
true power of the modern audience. The feminine energy.
There it is, right there. That is the modern audience. The 5 people who played this game.
Of this game somehow just wasn't enough to draw people in and get them to play it.
Why not? Is literally everybody in the world a bigot? You need to be playing my game. If you don't play my game, you are a racist, sexist bigot. You are a transphobe. You ableist? What, do you not like people in wheelchairs?
As of the time of this recording, there is one person in the entire world playing this game. Billions of humans inhabit this planet, hundreds of millions play video games, and there's only one guy playing this turd, and they maxed out at 5 people a few months ago. The problem is,
I bet that one guy that's playing it is just one of the developers that has it running to boost the numbers, and then nobody else has it running. Like, they literally could do that. All the developers of this game could just run this game to boost the numbers just a little bit. Past 1? Are you kidding me? Do you not even care about the product that you made? No, they don't actually. They just care about the agenda that they're pushing. They're making a game second.
that we can spot the wokeness from frickin' orbit on this thing. And to gamers, this sort of preachy woke shit is avoided like it's super AIDS.
Well, I'm not avoiding it. I'm not gonna play it, but I'm definitely gonna watch somebody shit all over it on YouTube. And here we are.
AIDS! Everybody out!
Subscribe to the channel if you have. Alright, me hearties, make sure that you hit the like button on this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I've begun uploading some content over onto Rumble as well, so make sure that you follow Dr. Disaster on that site too. And also, give me a follow on X, where my handle...
Dude, the more I'm seeing of this game, the worse it gets. Holy shit.
...is Dr. Disaster.
Yui, she, her, half-elf. That's such a long title, man. Making everything so fucking weird and complicated. Why? For what? It's like, whenever you introduce yourself, you can't just say, oh, hey, I'm Fables. No, you have to say, I'm Fables, he, him, human, or two-spirit. I am Fables, two-spirit, he, him, he, her, she, him.
1. I keep a list on there of games lousy with wokeness pinned to my account at all times. This game, Creature Kind, is definitely going on that list. But let's take a look at it. This here is an article from Xbox.com where they talk about this game that's being released tomorrow on the console, and it's also coming out on the PS5. And would you look at that art from the game there? There is nothing masculine about it. Everything absolutely screams woke pandering. There's a wheelchair, some pink and blue hair, and just about every virtue signal that you can think of that is meant to appeal to the modern audience types, but for some reason...
I guarantee you, there's not a single regular white person in this whole game. If they're white, they're gonna be a fairy and gay, like that, whatever the fuck that is in the middle. No actual white characters.
Reason nobody bought the game on Steam. If you look at the VG analytics page for it, you can see that they are estimating the game has sold...
Oh wait, isn't this the game that where no white people exist in the future? Is that it? Or is that a different game? Am I getting it confused with a different game?
Only 960 copies on Steam, and the most hilarious thing is that the average amount of time played is 0 hours. This means that everyone they suckered into buying this game put it down immediately, because of course they did. I wonder how many of those 960 people got refunds. But let's go back to this article. I want to read to you their description of this game. I had to hear what it was about, so now you have to hear it as well. It says here, Creature Kind, the wholesome card battling adventure where words replace swords, will launch on Xbox on June 27th, 2025. This cozy roguelite deck builder invites players into a hand-drawn world where kindness and compassion might just save magic. In Creature Kind, you will not be swinging swords or casting destructive spells. Instead, you build your decks with compassion-powered cards.
Dude, that is the most fat tree that I've ever seen.
Designed to charm, reason with, and reassure quirky and lovable monsters. The world is packed with colorful cryptids and mythological creatures who are in desperate need of empathy.
They're trying to turn everybody into iDubbbz. We've all got to have empathy.
That's right, folks. All the world's problems can be solved if we just talk about our fifis. No offense to all the ladies out there, but this is the most hyper feminine energy I can possibly imagine.
No, it's not. This isn't feminine energy. This is fat energy.
And with all the girl gamers that I hear that are running around now, I'm just shocked that almost nobody bought this game. But continuing on, it says, players step into the role of a group of activists on a mission to conserve mana, a magical energy being frivolously wasted at alarming rates. Your team sets out to inspire change by talking, listening, and showing that empathy can be just as powerful as any weapon.
Dude, this is the gayest thing that I've ever heard, man. Like, this is so gay that even gay people will probably be like, whoa, this is like taking 10 dicks in the butt at the same time gay.
Oh goody, so it sounds like an allegory for climate alarmism. Why wait to run into these maniacs as they block traffic or deface public property in a museum?
94% positive Steam reviews. What? From who? Probably because nobody's heard of this game.
Something. Why wait for that when you can bring them into your own home and spend time engaging with their fanatical worldview? I mean, who doesn't want to pay for the privilege of being propagandized by jackasses suffering from severe cases of main character syndrome? But a bit down in the article, the maker of the game says, inclusion and representation have been at the core of the development from the very beginning. I wanted to create a game where everyone can feel welcome and seen, both in terms of its characters and also in how
Rational argument. What the fuck? That's an attack? Yeah, it is. It actually is an attack. Deal minus 60 HP to any opponent. That's like... Dude, they don't even realize what the fuck they're doing here. They literally have labeled their rational argument as an attack. They're actually fucking retarded. Massive, extreme, leftist retards.
How approachable the gameplay is. If you're new to games, you should be able to pick creature kind up and feel empowered to try out different playstyles.
Apparently, literally nobody did that. Even people who bought this game, they didn't do that. Absolutely embarrassing, dude.
If you're a veteran of card games, you will still find unique gameplay to explore, but here's the thing. They're trying to make it sound like everyone is included in this game, but let's just be real here. If you have even a lick of testosterone in your body, you are not...
Yeah, I haven't seen a single white person except for one of them who was an Irishman, and he was short, looked like a child, and he was an enemy.
Not included or represented. Even the supposed male characters in this game appear to be about 95% woman. So I think we have a front runner for wokest game of the year thus far in 2025, being pretty damned blatant.
Well, what about that game where there's no white people in the future? What about that one?
And the sort of worldview that they are trying to promote. You know what's hilarious, though, is that this game, where they promote non-violence, this is how the woke crowd sees themselves. But the irony is that with all the violent protest that we see these days, I can't imagine a more non-fitting description of these idiots. Unlike how they try to show it in this game, they don't just try to use words to convince people, they use screaming and intimidation, and straight-up violence, no matter how many times these jackanapes...
But we're the ones doing all those things. We're the ones who are screaming and violent, not them. We're the ones who are starting the riots and burning cop cars in the streets. Yeah, totally. That's what we're doing. Give me a fucking break, man.
Call their actions peaceful protests, it doesn't change the facts of the matter. These are thugs who used to be good at propagandizing when they owned all the wings of media, but now their brand is toxic as hell, which is why nobody...
Yep, now that you said it's shut down, like they don't get any more funding.
Bought this game on Steam, and releasing on Xbox and PlayStation will not save them either. But I'm gonna leave it there.
Dude, I'm absolutely loving all of these woke people just getting their comeuppance. It's great. I love laughing at them. And now everybody's laughing at them. And the more we laugh at them, the harder they crash out and the worse it gets for them. And I'm here for it. Leave a like on this because I'm going to get bombarded with hate for this. You should leave a like on all my videos, actually, because I always get bombarded with hate until it enters the algorithm of real people. But usually they send it out, oh, you made a video about Hassan Piker? Well, we're going to send it out to people who watch Hassan Piker. And then I get bombarded with hate. But, you know, that's engagement. I get more views, more money, laughing all the way to the bank. Let's go.